you just move your chair? Did you just move your chair? Okay.
I'm so sorry. Fuck this month. Do the intro.
Okay.
Fuck this month. Do the intro.
Okay, it's done. I think. I didn't care for either of these books, Jared. Happy 30th anniversary, everyone!
Yay! You're watching Viewer Beware, and we are very happy this month.
7 months in, we've made it past the halfway point, and we're starting the second half of the year with a banger.
Immediately crashed. We were like, yay, halfway through. Let's go, guys.
Oh no! Oh no! I don't know what to say. I don't. I'm just gonna. Should we talk? Let's briefly overview how we felt.
Shit.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't know.
I don't think either of these books are the worst. They're going pretty low.
At least one of them taps into the more fun, bizarre angle, and then one of them is just like bad.
I forgot to write a book this month, guys. Here's some kids fucking around for a while. Yeah, alright. So, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I didn't care for it. It was weird. Not in a fun way, it was a confusing kind of weird. And for a lot of it, it's fairly normal, all things considered. There's one character that's kind of a bit of a major creep.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it is just another ghost book for most of it. We'll get to when it stops being a ghost book. I will say, I will say one thing that I have noticed. We've had 3 ghost books so far. Each book has been different kind of ghost.
Yeah.
With the first one, it's a pretty generic haunting. With the second one, the main character's a ghost, and it's more about like the arc of the ghost. And with this third one, the ghost is sort of an omen for the real threat of the story. That's interesting on paper.
On paper, a lot of those ideas are like pretty good and unique.
Yeah.
Because even the more generic ghost story, they're a bit more like undead-ish.
Yeah.
They still feel a bit more unique. He hasn't done just a straight shit ghost story yet.
No.
This book is shit for its own reasons,
Yes.
not because of the ghost story.
Yes. So, okay, so Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. We've gone to calling it Piano Murder as a shorthand.
Yeah.
The main character's name is Jerry. What if Jerry got piano lessons? Jerry is moving into a new house, and he's kind of a brat. He torments his parents with pranks. He tricks his father into thinking a dust bunny is a rat.
He's like a really shitty version of the protagonist from Girl Who Cried Monster.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Except he's not working off like another kid where them being scared is reasonable. It's grown adults that are dealing with the stress of moving and just want him to fuck off. So he goes to the attic of the new house and he finds a piano. And he's liking this new piano. And he convinces his parents to move the piano into the living room and organize to have piano lessons done with a teacher. Here's the part where I should mention that.
Quick interjection before you move on. The one thing that I quite kind of enjoyed early on, these are the most supportive parents in any Goosebumps books.
Yeah.
The dad was just like, oh, you found this piano. Do you want to play it? We'll move it in the living room. Do you want lessons? Would that be good for you, pal? Okay, we can give you lessons. And just for the whole book, they're like really supportive.
Now, he kind of reminds me of my dad, because I remember I had one conversation, I was like, I'm kind of getting into magic tricks, and then he just buys me a bunch of magic shit, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of over it at this point, but thank you.
The book.
Yeah, there's a cat there as well.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a cat. Bonkers, remember Bonkers?
Oh, Bonkers.
Stop naming pets, Stein, you're not good at it. Stop doing it, please. So he goes to a school that is hosted by Mr. Shriek, they call him. And there he meets a fellow student named Kim Lee Chun. I did not look this up, but I'm fairly certain, here's how he named the character. He's like, you know what the kids are playing these days? Street Fighter. You know that cool character Chun-Li? What if we just...
Yeah, sure.
What if we just...
he didn't think about it. It was just like, what do kids like?
Don't hold your breath. She doesn't do anything. I'm probably not even going to mention her again.
She's in like 2 scenes, right?
Yeah, I don't know what she does in the second
scene. No payoff
scene.
for her character.
No, not at all.
The second scene, she's just like, oh, you haven't heard the story? Fine, I guess I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay. So Mr. Shriek is a bit of a weirdo. He's really into Jerry's hands. He's Yoshikage Kira. He really likes Jerry's hands. Kind of doesn't give a shit about how he's playing the piano. He just wants to know more about the hands. So, where do we go from here?
You got to talk about the ghost.
So one night, Jerry's goes downstairs and sees someone's playing the piano, and there's no one there though. The piano's playing all by itself.
Spooky.
And we get a couple of times of this until he eventually finds someone is playing the piano. It's a ghost, and she tells him to stop playing the piano. It's bad.
Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes so I can remember what the fuck happened in this book.
No, so like the ghost doesn't do anything to Jerry, but she keeps telling him, do not keep learning the piano, it's bad.
I think at one point she goes, it's my fucking piano, get off it!
Yeah, basically, the parents think he's crazy, they keep dragging him to piano lessons, and even though he's becoming a bit more apprehensive about it, when he goes one day, he meets Mr. Toggle. I don't know what his name is. Mr. Toggle is an inventor. We've never had this before in a Goosebumps book. He invents robot vacuums, I guess?
I think
like Roombas, but big and robotic?
That's the thing that we've seen him invent, but I think it's implied that he just invents everything.
Yeah.
He just is an inventor, and that's just one of his inventions.
Like, if you've ever seen that episode of The Simpsons where the entire house becomes automated by Pierce Brosnan, it's kind of implied to be that, where he's invented all these things that just automatically make the school run. Something Jerry picks up on, he's hearing all of these pianos playing in these other rooms, but he never sees any students, except for Kim. He's talking to Kim about it, and Kim's like,
oh wait, no. Yeah. This is like an after-school thing. He just sees Kim at the normal high school. And then Kim's like, oh, you go to the Mr. Weirdo guy's school? Get out of there.
Right. Too many schools. If you get 2 schools, I'm not going to be able to keep track. So
I hope that I remembered that.
Yeah, no, Kim's just very vague about it. Like, kids go missing there, apparently. They go to learn piano and they never come back out. And it's just more scenes of Mr. Shriek being like, yes, your hands, they're so beautiful, keep playing the piano.
I love your hands, young man. Very good hands. Anyway, that's it for lessons this week. Come back next week. Don't forget to bring your hands.
I think he has a nightmare at one point that he starts playing the piano and Mr. Shriek keeps telling him to go faster and faster, and he can't stop.
Yeah, he can't stop his hands.
He can't stop his hands. The hands are working on their own. I can't. If I have to say hands one more time, I'm going to shoot myself.
What's the little tagline on the cover say, Hadley?
Play it again, hands. Play it again. Yes. So,
jump to the end. Nothing.
Yeah. So, like, eventually Jerry gets kind of fed up and he says, "All right, I don't want to play piano lessons anymore." And the parents say, "Okay, Jerry, you don't have to play the piano anymore, but we've paid for one more lesson. Just go back there, do one more lesson, you'll be fine."
Tell him you don't want to do it anymore. Tell him it's the last lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're good parents. They are. They don't believe any of the shit he's saying, but none of the parents ever do. So Jerry goes back to the school and he's doing the piano and he tells Mr. Shriek, "Okay, I don't want to do the lessons anymore." And of course, "Oh, but you can't, Jerry. You have to stay here forever!" And then starts chasing him through the school. And eventually he runs into the auditorium where he sees an array of pianos and they're all being played by floating hands. And then, of course, Mr. Shriek confronts Jerry. He's got nowhere to run, and then he falls to the ground, Mr. Shriek, and Mr. Toggle emerges with a remote. Mr. Shriek was a robot that Mr. Toggle had invented, and he was kidnapping children to get their hands so he can turn them into floating robot hands to play pianos. I don't know how corpse hands are also robots. I'm hoping you can explain that to me.
I'm pretty sure he says that he can invent everything, but hands are too intricate.
Yes.
He says, I can't replicate hands. And I think that's why he tries to cut hands off of kids who are good at piano, because if you're good at piano, you have good hands.
Yeah.
I think it's music related. Ghost hands.
Ghost hands. But also robot hands. I don't know.
The robot hands aren't good.
But he's controlling them in some way, right? Isn't that sort of implied?
I think he can control them, but he can't make them.
Okay, but what about Mr. Shriek's hands?
I'm pretty sure there was a scene where his hands go fucky wacky.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe it was in the TV adaptation.
Yeah, no, there was something of a mention of that. We'll get to that. So, and Jerry's like, well, thank you for saving Mr. Toggle. I guess I'll go home now. Oh, Jerry, I'm afraid you can't leave. You're gonna stay here forever.
I still need your hand.
And then the hands come to life, and they're possessed by the ghosts of the children that were murdered. Yeah. This book gets really dark at the end, but also kind of metal, and the ghosts all, and it's never explicitly said, but they probably killed Mr. Toggle.
Yeah.
And Jerry runs away, and that's the end of piano lessons.
It's like the ghost from the piano in his living room comes to the school and is like, Mr. Toggle, this is it. Yeah. And then all the ghosts grab him and drag him into the forest. And then eventually Jerry can't hear Toggle screaming anymore.
Yeah. It's like that scene in Order of the Phoenix where Umbridge gets carried away by the centaurs and you're like 80% sure she gets sexually assaulted.
I was going to say, don't mention Harry Potter to me. Yeah. And now I'm definitely going to say it. Don't mention Harry Potter to me.
Oh, jeez. So that was Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. What a summary. That took me 2 minutes maximum.
Yeah. This is the one that I think is kind of fun though. In its own pure insanity.
At the end only though.
No, I kind of like... I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying I like it, but it's kind of fun. Let me read out one of my notes about it.
Okay.
Because I summed it up well. By the way, reading my notes did not help me.
No, of course not.
All.
No.
I said, I find it interesting how the story jumps between ghost story and spooky school. Neither is interesting enough on its own, but it kind of works when the focus is split between them.
Yeah, you're never bored.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing going on, but there's always moving along.
It's written in a way that's kind of erratic, and that makes it a bit more fun. You want to talk about a book where nothing happens, and it's slow, and it's boring, and it's not written in a way that can save it. Just wait 10 minutes.
So, I forgot to mention, Jerry gets sent to therapy at one point.
Does he?
Jerry tells his parents about the ghost playing the piano, and they're like, Jerry, we're a little bit worried about you. Why don't we go take you to a psychiatrist and we can get you checked out?
I forgot about that.
That happens. And nothing comes out of it. There's just a scene of him in therapy. It's just... Why couldn't there have been like therapy lessons can be murder? Why couldn't that have been?
My psychiatrist is trying to gaslight me. Goosebumps book number 63. I don't have many other notes that are going to add anything. One thing that I've been noticing for a while, and I was finally pushed over the edge in this book, is that Stein will do something where if nothing scary is happening in the story, the dad will be like, don't worry son, then we'll go back inside and we're going to enjoy the rest of our summer break. And then the main character goes, but dad was wrong. And then the chapter ends and you read the next chapter and you go back to waiting for the scary thing to happen. But he just needs to remind you that it will be scary eventually.
Something interesting, Mr. Shriek keeps being described as Santa Claus. And I remember you read this book first and you told me the ending was weird. And part of me was like, what if he actually was Santa Claus? What if they actually did that?
God.
I would have liked the book a lot more.
Yeah. The ending was pretty weird. You read that last chapter and it's like such a pristine, what the fuck did I just read? Much better than like Camp Nightmare.
Yeah.
You just go, what the fuck was that? This one was like, what the fuck was that, bro?
I think we just needed a bit more cohesiveness, I guess.
Yeah. You really were reading two separate stories that had no business being together.
Yeah.
And couldn't come together in the end.
No.
I was kind of waiting for it to come together. I think just like hands are like so stupidly like, how do you make it scary, that I was like rooting for him. I was like,
yeah, of course.
Come on, make it scary. Come on, it's so fucking weird.
I was desperate, and I don't need to be told piano lessons are scary. My mum woke me up at 7 o'clock in the morning every day for piano lessons. One time I told her I didn't want to do the piano that day, and she flipped a table. I was like 10.
We're just trauma dumping now?
Yes! Fuck.
I have one more note that I wanted to read. There's one cliffhanger in here that just doesn't continue in the next chapter.
Oh?
It's just a completely new chapter. But there was a cliffhanger right before it.
Do you know what it is?
No, I can't. I'm not looking for it. Don't bother. Don't look at it. Look away. Look away. Like, there was just a chapter that ended with a cliffhanger. It was like, and then the hands came towards me. And the next chapter was like, and then I went to school the next morning, and you know, I saw my friend. And she told me to stay out of the basement.
Those two chapters were not written on the same day.
No, God, no. He didn't even bother rereading what had been done. He just started writing it.
Back to it. Back to the grind. Yeah. So, apparently there was a TV adaptation we need to talk about.
Oh yeah, let's go.
You have to put me through.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a TV adaptation.
Yeah.
And we watched it.
Yeah. The first thing I need to note is how extra the actors are feeling. They're just doing a bit too much.
You're gonna have to lead this one because I cannot remember a fucking thing.
So we'll talk about the ghost first. The ghost is very much kind of reminded me of the librarian for Ghostbusters, where there's no subtlety to anything she does. She's just a spooky ghost. It's like, get away from my piano.
She had those really shitty effects. I'm starting to remember that.
Yeah.
Like a supremely terrible effect.
No, she's meant to be transparent and kind of warped. I was saying she looks like Mrs. Doubtfire when she doesn't have her makeup on, so she has to slam her face into a cake. You didn't see that movie, but maybe one of you guys did. Mr. Shriek is obviously very extra as well.
His acting was pretty alright.
Yeah, but he's like, the head.
Yes.
The head?
He did his job right.
Yeah. Kim Lee Chun is played by a black girl.
Did they change her name?
I don't remember.
They might not even have ever mentioned it.
Yeah.
They were just like, there's the girl. She's here twice.
Yes.
Smiley face.
Hi, I'm Kim. I live across the street. Hi, I'm Jerry.
They couldn't afford an Asian actress?
Yeah.
Afford?
I don't know.
Are you implying that black actresses are cheaper than Asian ones?
No, but it's like, it's easier to
yes,
find.
that is what you're implying.
It's easier to find them. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Afford.
What word do we use?
Well, not afford, they couldn't find.
Yeah.
How would it take to learn?
Well, it depends on how much you practice.
Never got into like grapefruit as a breakfast thing. Just eating out of a grapefruit.
Quick, I need to move past the racism. Grapefruit. I don't think I've ever had a grapefruit, actually.
No, me neither. It worked. It's one part. I liked that. Something interesting to note, and that's something they do in the TV adaptation for this as well, the parents find out. Because at the end, they run away from the school, and the ghost starts charging after them, and the parents are like, the car won't start!
Yeah.
Jesus, no! And the Mr. Shriek robot effect, it's pretty simple. It's just an arm gets ripped off, and you see some wiring, and there's some sound effects as he goes,
what about the fucking hallway robot? The fucking Roomba?
Yeah, oh, those were cool. I actually kind of liked those. Those were... Yeah, we also need to talk about, they changed the ghost backstory. Do you remember what the backstory was?
His mum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the end, she's like forcing him to play the piano forever. Mr. Tom was just at the piano.
You will practice and practice.
How much longer? Till I know what you're talking about. This is great. I like the part where they just recreated the relationship between my own mother at the end there. That was great. It's good to get representation in the show, Jared. It's great. It's fantastic. Hi, pillow.
I was surprised. I was really worried about like the effects of like 50 different pianos in the one room was going to do because they couldn't afford that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks convincing enough. I don't know how they did the shot, but
yeah,
it looks real.
I remember really liking how they changed Mr. Toggle at the end.
Yeah,
he was a bit more. They added just like a little bit more to it, where he was like, I've got to play the piano perfect, and I need your hands to do it.
It was. Look, I was saying this off screen. We can't judge the TV adaptations like we would with the books because they're not writing the story; they're just adapting it. So we need to talk about, instead of how entertaining it was, how they adapted an otherwise pretty mediocre story.
Yeah.
And all things considered, they did a good job.
Yeah. It's still piano murder.
Yeah.
So it's not good.
No.
But considering what we read, they did a good job.
Yes.
Guys might be noticing there's not a lot to say. Kept the books this month. So on that note,
let's move on.
Let's move on to Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
Not a bad opening.
She looks disgusting. She looks like she's meant to steal Christmas. Okay, so we just tried to read over our notes before getting into this book, just to refresh our minds. I don't know how many notes you had.
I think it was like 8.
I have 4.
Yeah.
I'd just like to read my last note now. My last note simply reads, "What a complete and utter waste of time." So I'm going to attempt to remember the plot of The Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
What is there to remember?
The main character's name
Grady.
Is Grady. Grady's parents are scientists. They are studying deer.
Yes.
They've moved to this Louisiana swamp. It's not Louisiana, it's somewhere. They've moved out to this swamp, this place called Fever Swamp.
Might be Florida, actually.
Florida.
I think they mentioned it's
They
Florida.
moved to some dumb fuck American swamp.
Yeah.
And
they don't have any gay rights there, probably.
No.
Didn't get mentioned in the book, though.
No. A real L from last time.
Oh no, the L's right there.
Fucking... So, let's see, literally anything else to talk about. So they've got these fucking deers, they're trying to see if they can adapt to living on a swamp. It's just a really dumb idea.
But they're in a fence the whole time?
Yeah, I think the idea was they'd let them out eventually, but the story never got that far.
No.
I kind of hit a point where I was like, oh, what if the deers are the werewolves of the Fever Swamp?
What if literally anything else was happening?
Yeah,
right
I
now?
was like, that'd at least be kind of interesting. They wouldn't be werewolves, but I'd be okay with it, because it'd be dumb and fun. And that didn't happen. So Grady has his sister, and his sister is like angry about being there because she's like a pre-teenager, like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
She had friends where she was from. She had a boyfriend or something that she's always on the phone talking to, apparently. I quite like their dynamic.
Yes.
It goes away pretty quickly. It's only in like half the book.
You know what it reminded me of? Ben and Gwen from Ben 10.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's exactly what it felt like. I think I might have thought that at one point as well. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. You don't get a lot of it. Grady befriends this kid.
Will,
thank you.
I'm not going to remember the other one name. I'm telling you that right now.
There was another girl.
Yeah, there
like
was.
one scene, 2 scenes. Like, he makes a friend, Will, and Will's like, haha, yeah, I live over here. That's cool. And they're friends. The parents are like, don't go into Fever Swamp because it's dangerous because it's a swamp. And then Grady goes, well, I'm going to go in there because it's a swamp. And then there's like this crazy homeless guy who lives in a shack in the swamp.
That's a home, so he's not homeless.
Okay, it's true.
I've completely destroyed your analysis, Jared.
You have?
Yeah.
No. He starts getting scared of him because he's a scary, crazy guy who lives in a shack in the swamp. Fair enough, honestly.
Why is it called Fever Swamp?
because in the 1800s, people went into the swamp and they got a fever, and everybody who got that fever died.
Or went crazy.
Yeah. And I think they're trying to imply that the crazy guy in the swamp has the fever.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. At one point there's a werewolf, maybe, perhaps?
We see a dead chicken.
Yeah.
I think halfway into the book.
There's like a dead animal at one point, and everyone's like, wow, it looks like a werewolf shredded this one up, and Will's got these stories about a werewolf and the fever and whatnot, and everyone's like, stop listening to him, shut the fuck up, kid, shut up, Grady. At one point a dog shows up.
Yes.
Just a dog just shows up, and Grady's like, cool, I want that to be my dog. And everyone's like, okay, I guess, you need to name it. And he says, Wolf. I'm going to call my dog Wolf. And at this point you're thinking, surely Wolf is the werewolf.
That's how werewolves work, right?
Yeah, but they named him Wolf. So maybe the crazy man in the swamp is actually Wolf as well, and he's just keeping an eye on him. And then at night he breaks out and he goes crazy because like sometimes at night like the deer get really upset.
Yeah.
There's like howls, you can hear howling outside. The wolf goes a bit nutty sometimes. He knocks over some fucking ceramic pot, like Mom's fine china at one point.
Has to be left outside.
Can't go inside, and they're thinking like, okay, maybe we shouldn't, own Wolf anymore. And Grady's like, shut up, Mom, you dragged me out to a fucking swamp with some fucking deer. Yada yada yada. Jump to the end of the book. Will's the werewolf. Something happens, and Will's the werewolf.
So Will kind of fucks off. They're exploring the swamp. Because one of the deer got murdered, everyone thinks Wolf did it.
That's right.
And Grady's going out to prove it. And it's the last night of the full moon.
Right, yeah.
So this is his last chance to prove Wolf's innocence.
Yeah.
Will fucks off, and then the werewolf attacks. And it's like, oh my god, I can see Will in you. I can recognize those facial features anywhere.
Yeah. And Will's like, fuck off, I'm a werewolf. And he scratches Grady. And I think Wolf comes and protects Grady.
Yeah, Wolf chases Will away.
Yeah. And then it's the final chapter, and it's like Will never came back, and we're still here at the swamp with the deer, and it's all going well. But Will gave me a final gift. Now every full moon, Grady, me, protagonist, I turn into a werewolf, and this is my swamp. Fever Swamp is mine. I am the werewolf of Fever Swamp.
Now he just needs a donkey.
The end. That was the entire book.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened until the second last chapter, and it was really, really bland.
I like the last chapter. That's kind of it.
Just for the moment of like, I am the...
It's very Lovecraftian. I think it's Shadow over Innsmouth.
Do not compare it to
I'm sorry. But at one point, the main character discovers that he's a descendant of these ancient fish people, and he starts turning into one. He's like, I kind of like this. This is kind of cool.
And I'll allow it, I guess. But yeah, there's literally nothing to say. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to go at the bottom of our list, but it's going to get pretty fucking close.
I will say, I think what's holding me back from putting anything below Welcome to Camp Nightmare is that ending, where you tell me nothing mattered. Literally nothing.
Yeah. So this is going to be like second line. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead of ourselves because there's nothing to say right now. Let me check my other notes.
I do have one thing that was interesting to me was Wolf gets accused a lot of being the werewolf, not just by the kids, but by the parents. And it's very strange to me because if Wolf was killing these animals, why is there no blood on him? Is he washing it off? Is he disposing of the evidence?
Yeah, if they really believe he's just a dumb dog that's murdering, how is he cleaning himself?
And it's like, the sister says at one point, you can't prove that he didn't do it. It's not how that works. That's not how burden of proof works. The hermit actually, I think he starts catching on to Grady and just starts fucking with him, like, oh yeah, I'm the werewolf.
Oh yeah, at one point he's like, I'm the werewolf. Just starts chasing him around.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't really do anything after that.
No, he doesn't.
No. I have one note that I want to read out. Yeah. I wrote, I never want to hear the moon be described as yellow as a lemon again.
I don't remember that.
It was literally just, they looked at the moon and Grady was like, the moon was as yellow as a lemon, and It was yellow like a lemon. Anyway, back onto wasting your time with this terrible book.
The cliffhanger endings were pretty bad in this one. I think a lot of them were just, oh my god, there's an animal chasing after me. It's just Wolf.
Oh, there was
Wolf
one
just
part where
coming
it
to
was
say
like,
hi.
I fell over, I felt something grab my ankle. It was the werewolf. And the next chapter is, oh no, I tripped over a branch. I'm back to running now.
Fuck off. Yeah, that was Werewolf of Fig Swamp.
Yeah, let's talk about the TV adaptation. Actually not terrible. Made some improvements that were worthwhile.
It needs to be said, this was 2 parts.
Yeah.
I was excited, like a little bit, and I'll explain my reasoning. Nothing happens in this book. The only way you can make it a 2-parter is if you add shit in. The shit you add in, I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's got to be interesting, right?
It really doesn't matter what you add in, as long as it's something that's automatically better than the book.
It almost did that. I'm mad because it promised to make the story more interesting and then it didn't.
I'm just going to say it quickly, just to there's 2 werewolves.
Yes.
In the TV adaptation,
Yes.
there are 2 werewolves.
The werewolves do not show up until part 2.
Yeah.
The part 1 cliffhanger, he gets kidnapped by the hermit.
Yeah, and the hermit was better as well.
Yes.
The hermit was greatly improved.
He's still a bit like, there's not a lot of nuance to him until the very last scene we get with him. It's very interesting what they do with him at the end. I don't have much else to say apart from they renamed the dog. Do you remember what the new name is?
No, Pumpkin.
Thinking about calling him Vandal on account of the way he broke in last night.
Vandal, much better.
Yeah, yes.
Much better.
Yes. No, that's one change where I'm like, I want them to rename the pets in these books. Because the TV adaptation of Piano Murder, they kept bonkers.
That's just bonkers.
They kept bonkers. Great. So something that we caught on, it was during part 2, the werewolf comes to attack the house, and Grady's mum and sister gets trapped in a barn, and the werewolf is outside trying to break down the door, and we were like, where's the dad?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I feel like it might be the dad, because we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. See, this is us desperately trying to make the book more interesting.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
I can't remember if the dad's one of the werewolves or not. I can't remember.
I'm going to tell you what happens. So, we get to the climax of the story, and Grady runs into the hermit, who actually captures the werewolf, not dissimilar from how he captured Grady earlier, gets him in a net, and he's like, you killed my family all those years ago, and now I get my revenge.
You took my wife and children, everything I ever loved. I swore one day I would take your heart the way you took mine.
Okay, this just got really good. What happened?
Run, boy! Look out!
There's
Two werewolves.
Yes! The dad's a werewolf!
Wow. Let's go!
I'm so glad we didn't pay attention in part 1. Everything's happening now.
And then a vandal, I guess, in this story, chases the wolf off. And this was the part where I thought, are we going to finally reveal who this other werewolf is? And we run after this werewolf and he turns back into Will. It's an alright effect. It's just got like fur glued onto him and some contacts. It's whatever.
I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was fine.
The actual werewolf kind of looks like that gorilla suit from SpongeBob, just a little bit. Just a cheeky
no, it
bit.
totally does.
Yeah, just a little bit. And then we never find out what happened to the other werewolf in the net. We don't know who it was, but the dad shows up the next day, and Grady's not a werewolf in this one. He just goes on living in the swamp.
But did we
But but you had, but the wait, but there were two. No.
Have a scary night, everyone.
You teased me. You gave me two werewolves. You didn't fucking anything with it. The credit had a guy named Wolfson.
My eyes are closed. I'm not looking.
It's over. We get to go home. No one's happy.
You know, one day I'll die. And if heaven is real, I'll stand in front of those pearly gates. And which saint is the one that's going to have a book of my life in front of me and he's going to be like, you really sat through all that Goosebumps willingly as an adult?
Willingly.
Willingly. And I'll be like, yes sir, shall I get on the next flight to hell now? We never find out who the second werewolf is?
No, we don't.
Oh.
I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
That is the most offensive thing to come out of this month's selection, is the fact you promised me something more interesting, then you forgot to pay it off. You stretched this into 2 parts and you couldn't find the time to tell the rest of your story? I don't believe you. How does this happen? You'll notice we haven't talked about part 1 at all. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, nothing happens in it. The other reason was we didn't care. We did not pay attention.
No, I think I was on my phone.
Those stories are just old folk legends. There's never been a shred of scientific evidence. And also, there's no such fever as the one you described. And as I told you before, that old hermit is a harmless old...
No, I'm on my phone. I'm out.
Back to it.
I'm out.
Jared is checking out Werewolf of Fear as well.
Slappy Beware. The last book that I have on my list. There's definitely more, however.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's too many Slappy books.
Yeah.
You were checking out books that we were going to read in the future.
Yeah, I found that fucking Haunted Mask hardcover.
Oh, so cool. You're going to have to send me a photo. Oh, I think I already got the photo. But it's cool.
Yeah.
Hardcover Haunted Mask book. Holy shit.
Get to it in a couple of years, because it's not part of any series.
No, it's not.
But yeah, Werewolf Fever Swamp, fuck you. TV adaptation, 2 step forward, 2 step back, same spot.
They're trying to make the cloud look like a wolf.
Yeah, the cloud is scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just like that scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the webs of hand.
Wow. No, but that actually does make me cry. Stop.
Okay, great. Maybe you just like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I don't.
Okay.
It's just that whole scene is like it's so over the top, but that scene is still, it's just powerful enough.
So apparently, 30 years ago, we got Welcome to Dead House. And apparently now is the part where something happens in this video. I'm very excited.
You want to see a magic trick?
Alright. We're also here for this because they wrote a book.
It was like Goosebumps, but not for pussies. They just like went in.
See, I was gonna say it was just like Goosebumps, and that's the problem.
Ah. Well, I thought it was like very reminiscent of Goosebumps, except at the end of Goosebumps, they're normally like, oh, it was a prank, it was a dream, it was a meme. But they were like, no, they genuinely went to hell. And that is just a concept.
Yeah. So, I think, yeah, like I said, the biggest problem I think I had with it is that it's very clear that Jared and Hadley are trying to emulate R.L. Stein's writing style and make it feel like a Goosebumps book. But the problem is, as they themselves will attest to by doing this series, is that most Goosebumps books are bad.
Can't say that.
So like, I specifically, I like most of the story. I just don't necessarily like the way it's written sometimes, because it's very much trying to feel like a Goosebumps book. I think that's to its detriment more than its benefit. But after Satan gets introduced, I just flat out hate everything until it's over.
I like the JoJo reference when what means Satan.
Yes, that so. We were gonna get to that later, but Hadley and Jared both have specific "fuck you" notes. Jared's was the JoJo reference.
You knew he wrote that chapter the second.
Because that shit was fucking egregious, and it made me hate a chapter I was already not enjoying even more. Hadley, yours was on page 1.
Was it the Kale line?
No, it was little bro.
Yeah.
Fuck you, people don't talk like that. And you don't need expository dialogue like that when the line before it is a first-person narration saying, "This is Kale, my older brother." Like, as a reader, I know what his relationship is now. I don't need Kale to say the clunkiest thing that anyone has ever said in any form of media, which is, "Hi, this is how you're related to me."
Is Kale a Dragon Ball Z reference? If not, that's okay.
I guess we should actually summarize the plot.
What's the title of the book?
What's the book called, by the way?
The book is called "My Bus Driver is a Demon."
I did not remember that.
I was like 90% sure that was right, and neither of them have corrected me on it, so it's probably
that
accurate.
sounds good to me.
But yeah, so the general story is our protagonist is Cody.
I couldn't remember that either. I couldn't even remember what.
I just want to say, you finished this more recently than I did,
yep.
So yeah, this
is
worrying. But yeah, Cody, he's also nicknamed Wart because he's a worry wart, which is definitely a thing that Americans say.
Got him.
And he's got a new bus driver. And that's a problem for him because he's very meticulous and focused on exact details for the first chapter.
Only then.
Yeah, only the first chapter. That it never comes up again.
Yeah.
That little detail of his character, like.
Is it character progression?
Maybe.
Mayhaps.
But yeah, he gets the new bus driver. She takes him on a route he's not used to, and he looks out the window and he's like, "Hang on, this looks a bit like hell. That's odd."
But no one else notices.
No one else notices. Then they get to school, and fuck, what's his friend's name?
I couldn't remember that either. But the bus driver was Lilith, which is also
the bus driver is Lilith.
It's like,
Are we supposed to help you at all?
If you want.
What was the girl's name?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. I knew it started with a C.
Just shout mine if you ever
Yeah, so he's hanging out with his friend Chelsea, and then there's the bully Chad.
Good name.
Too many C and K names in this, by the way.
It's a different sound.
Chad
though,
works.
No, you have Kale and Kyle are two main characters in this story. Don't try and weasel your way out of it. All right.
We're getting to Kyle. He's coming up.
So Kyle's the new kid in town.
That's been there the whole time though.
Yeah, he's been there
He's always been there.
Yeah, he's not new. He's definitely not new. Everyone's always like, yeah, Kyle's been around the whole time, and Kyle wants to be Cody's best friend. And he tries bonding over X-Force comics.
Yeah,
Because
conveniently
they both love Cable.
Yep.
From X-Force.
It's another secret.
Yeah. They both love Cable from X-Force, and you know that because Hadley and Jared never miss an opportunity to remind you that Cable is a character in X-Force that both Kyle and Cody enjoy.
Who's Cable? I don't know.
Fucking Josh Brolin in Deadpool 2.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So Cody wants to be Kyle. No. Kyle wants to be Cody. See? This is the problem. This is the fucking problem!
I named both of those characters as well.
Yeah. And you named Kale.
Just
you wrote the first chapter.
Say what, and it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. But anyway, they want to be friends.
Yeah.
One wants to be friends with the other. Chad shows up and he's like, "I'm going to bully you, Cody, because that's my character."
That's me.
And then Kyle starts Like, he starts doing omen shit, and all the fountains explode and stuff. And he's like, you leave Cody alone. He's my friend now, and I have magic powers. So, and Cody is also friends with the librarian.
Yeah,
Mr.
it's
Carmack.
like his bestie.
Yeah, and
conveniently named by Jared.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Carmack and Romero, completely unobtrusive. I enjoy it as a nice little reference. Jojo, fucking suck my girl dick. So yeah, he's mates with the librarians. Always he finished reading Treasure Island.
Yeah, and then
he gets Dante's Inferno, which is a bit of a step up from Treasure Island. But it's okay because it comes back around, sort of, but not as much as I wanted it to.
Yeah. I don't know what the book's relevance was. Did I miss something?
You did.
Well, yeah, so like, Dante's Inferno is a story about a guy who goes to hell with his best. So like Dante and his best mate Virgil
and then
go to
hell.
them
out for them.
She knows more about Dante's Inferno than we do.
Yeah. That's why I was so disappointed.
Because I've read Dan Brown's Inferno, which is the fourth Robert Langdon book. I know more, but I felt like I would be too cruel to add more stuff in for the sake of Jared.
Well, I only did Disco Inferno, a terrible jukebox musical written based on Dante's Inferno, which was atrocious, but anyway.
Yeah. It's just interesting you bring up Robert Langdon, because Rupert Langdon is the voice of Dante in the Devil May Cry series. Anyway, that's a tangent that has no meaning. So, Mr. Carmack gives Cody the book, Dante's Inferno, and Cody's like, hey, have you noticed that the new bus driver lady, Mrs. Moon, and that kid Kyle are like really weird? And Carmack says, I'll look into that for you, Cody. Read Dante's Inferno. That's gonna be important. Make sure you read it. Read the book about demons, then I'm going to go look into these demon characters.
And what happens to him?
And what happens to him? He doesn't show up in the story anymore, aside from one small appearance right at the end.
Yeah, when he's on the bus, and they try to talk to him, and he's like,
no. He's like, no, I've been to hell. I don't want to be involved in the story anymore.
I didn't want to talk to him. I was like, bruh.
But yeah, so then the next day... Mr. Carmack has mysteriously disappeared, and he's been replaced by a new guy called Mr. Romero.
Who
also happens to be Carl's dad. And in the aftermath of the fountain exploding and the bully shit, we learned that Mrs. Moon, the bus driver, is Kyle's mom.
Yay!
And then... Why do you have separate surnames? Oh, we're separated and we're not raising him together. Oh, you couldn't just... She kept her name? No. That's definitely not a thing that we could have done.
I didn't pick up on that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, like... like I said, I've got two alternate pitches for reworkings of this story.
We're gonna get through the first.
Yeah, we'll get through the first story, but we'll get to those. And like, just a lot of these things are like things I picked up on, and they'll play into the alternate.
Very fair.
But yeah, Mr. Romero's like, so yeah, I'm from hell, Lilith's from hell, Carl's from hell. He just wants to be your friend.
That's it.
And Cody's like, what happened to Mr. Carmack? He's like, oh, we put him somewhere. We stashed him away for a rainy day. Anyway, you and your family, and your friend Chelsea too, I guess.
Come to dinner.
Yeah, yes.
Come to dinner.
Come to hell and have dinner. Not with me, because it's a separated living situation. But like, I'm organizing a dinner that my not wife is going to have to do. But she knows it's fine. So, on the bus home, there's like a weird demon fetus.
Yes, I imagine it as like a
salamander. Shows up for one cliffhanger and then just sort of gets like thrown away.
Yeah.
It wasn't really clear. Is that the Hellhound?
Yeah, that's Carl's pet.
Yeah.
But he was tiny in that instance.
Yeah, no, he's like a little bat creature, kind of, I guess.
He's a puppy.
Yeah, he's like a...
Well, it's just when they're
bus,
like,
you
oh
feel
my
like it was
god,
like
there's
this
something in your hair, Chelsea. It sounds like it's some sort of like the Eraserhead baby.
Yeah.
Climbing in her hair, and they're like, ah, fuck, kill it, and they throw it away. But then when it shows up as a hellhound, you're just like, demon dog. And
It just makes me think of Stranger Things where they have the little Demogorgon as like a slug, and then it like becomes the dog form. And that's how I thought of it, but flaming the whole time.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, that's definitely what I intended. What's wrong with that?
You love Stranger Things. It's gotta be that. Definitely.
But yeah, that happens as a little interlude just to get us back to the house before Lilith shows up in the bus to take everyone to hell for dinner.
Because that was his way to get out of the dinner. He's like, I will show parent the flaming lizard dog thing I have in my bag.
But then it ate its way out of the bag.
There.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Damn. I guess I do have to go to hell anyway.
And then he lost the book too. Right?
Did he lose the book?
I'm pretty sure he loses the book because it was in his bag.
Because there was a hole in the bag.
There was a hole in the bag.
Okay.
And he's like, damn it, I need the book now also.
How does he
get it back? Someone gives it to him.
So gives it to him.
That's right.
Because it fell out on the bus, so she's like, oh, you left this on the bus.
Because he's like, it could have fell out anywhere.
She hands it back to him and she's like, Dante's Inferno, this one was a game changer. Here you go back.
Oh, no.
So yeah, they're on the bus, they go to hell. The parents don't really seem to notice that hell is a bad thing.
They're really nonchalant.
They're very chill about it.
And like Chelsea and her dad are there too.
Yeah.
I think it's just her dad.
I think it's just, there's no...
And it's not
Chelsea
till
doesn't
like...
have a mom.
No, yeah. And then like, it's not till, I mean, I'm skipping ahead, but they have the dinner eventually. And then Chelsea's dad's like, that's it, we're leaving. It's like, now? Like, what?
Just like, wait a minute. There's something not quite right about this demon realm.
But we should probably go back. So they're on the bus.
Yeah.
Going to the dinner.
So Kyle's got Cody and Chelsea up in his room, and he's like, "Look at all of my X-Force comics. Because of hell magic, I've got ones from the future as well, or something, or like ones that are exclusive, limited run, hell only, or something. I don't know.
Edition,
He's got more X-Force comics than there should be. So
I think everyone has more X-Force comics than they should be.
But like Cody and Chelsea are like, Mr. Carmack's in hell somewhere. Let's look at Dante's Inferno. It's got a map of hell on it. So we'll use that map to find Mr. Carmack.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they have to come up with a way to distract Kyle. So they're like, oh, let's play hide and seek. You seek, we'll go hide.
And then he also has to think about the entire time. He's like, I definitely want to play with
Yeah, that's
you,
right.
Kyle.
Because he's got.
He can read his mind.
He's got the omen
We kinda
powers,
left that
so
out,
he has telepathy as well.
Yeah.
And so Chelsea leads Kyle up the path to the higher level of hell, whereas Cody, fuck you guys, goes down the other layers of hell to get to the bottom so he can talk to Satan and say, "Hey, Satan."
Was that on the map?
I mean, in Dante's Inferno, it has like levels of hell, and the lowest level is where Satan is imprisoned.
Gotcha.
And it's like all cold and shit, and that's why in Smiling Friends it's so snowy.
But in this hell, it was very hot.
Yeah, but anyway, he gets down to Satan. He's like, "Hey, Satan, there's some demons up there doing some shit that you probably didn't approve of." And Satan says, "Yes, I did."
And then
Kyle's like, fuck, I didn't think this could be a possibility of the way things would go.
Yep.
Like, yeah, no, they made a deal for a soul that Kyle would have a friend because he's the only child in hell or something.
He's the only kid in hell. And they also took like Jackson's soul. Some random guy called Jackson
some kid
from
called
school.
Jackson is like, okay, I get his soul, he's not a part of the deal, so...
Yeah, he just got...
Like, realistically, Kyle could have just been like Cody could have been like, I'll make a deal with you for someone's soul. Like, yours? No, not mine.
Yeah, not mine.
Just pick some random fuck like you did with Jackson.
Yeah, just some random background character.
So Cody's like, oh no. Well, what if I make a new deal with you, Satan? You're like, okay, what's the new deal? You're like, okay, give me back Mr. Carmack. Give me back Jackson. Kyle and his family are stuck in hell. They're not going to bother us anymore. And you get my soul in 1 year. And Satan's like, okay, cool. That sounds good. Yep. He punches Satan at one point
Jojo
to try and be a badass, but Satan's like huge, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, but it's like, look, I'm not Ward anymore.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Character progression things.
Yeah. That was actually one of the things I did quite enjoy was like what
now you call it what?
Yeah. Well, because it's relevant to the point I'm trying to make, Hadley.
Checks out.
He's not Ward, like you say, he's not Ward anymore. No. He's become brave, and like Chelsea's even like, okay, hey, what's going on here? Got a little bit of going on. But yeah, he's brave. He's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to take my soul. But like,
a year.
Yeah, give me a year to set my affairs straight and everything. So then he goes back up, and Lilith's just like, why the fuck did you do that?
But then they have the dinner.
We literally just wanted to be your friends. You're a fucking asshole, Cody. Fuck you. Eat the dinner and get out of my house.
They have the most depressing dinner.
And like, in a sense of like, this is very funny that this is the way it's played out.
Yeah.
That's like probably the part of the ending I liked the most. But it also very much felt like one of the writers wanted there to be a like, oh, and I realized the demons aren't so bad after all, and now I have a cool demon best friend. But the other writer's like, and Cody makes a deal to trap them in hell forever. So you're trying to reconcile the two divergent storylines and have something in the middle of like, well, you beefed it, Cody. You fucked everything up, and now I'm gonna make you feel bad for being racist towards demons. So they go back up to the regular world, and Cody's like, oh, I'm gonna die in a year for basically no reason.
Yeah.
I think I kind of beefed it a bit here, but hey, we got Jackson back.
Yeah, and
good old Jackson, that character we all love.
Chad isn't back.
Chad's brain was fucked by the demon powers.
Yeah, and they just fixed it.
And then he's like, "Hey, Chad, remember bullying me?" And it's like, "I do remember bullying you." And then tips yogurt on his head, and that's the end of the book. So yeah, as I said earlier, everything from introducing Satan, I just kind of hated.
I like the demo.
Again, I didn't really like how it was written, but I was really enjoying the build-up of tension, like the sense of dread as they were going to hell, and like we got to figure out a way to fix this and everything. But then, like, Satan just kind of threw a spanner in the works.
I wasn't expecting Satan to just rock out and then they just have a big chat.
I think it's ironic. The scene just before Satan is Cody and Chelsea being like, we have two very different paths we can go on here.
I see.
It's almost as if it was being passed between two writers who, with very little communication about where the story could go, and they just had to come up with shit.
Hey, that's all right.
But yeah, I've made my feelings fairly clear, and I'll get to what I think could be improved in a minute. But what did you think of the overall package?
I think, yeah, the build-up was good, and I think that's what I enjoyed the most. The build-up felt like Goosebumps, and I guess the ending didn't kind of at least let you down as most Goosebumps books do, where they kind of just make it some sort of dumb reason for everything happening. They were just genuinely like, yeah, no, they went to hell. Yeah, Cody's still gonna die in a year.
Yeah.
His soul's just gone in a year.
I will also say, it was probably not super intentional, but I wasn't a big fan of how the moral of the story was basically Kyle is definitely neurodivergent coded, and the moral is fuck you for wanting friends, Kyle. You belong in hell forever.
Yep.
Alone. With a dog and a mum, and that's it.
You have no friends. Like, there's no other kids. Why is there no other kids in hell? Wait.
I don't
What is the lore of this
know.
universe? There is 0 kids in hell, but...
Answer us now. Why are there no other children in hell?
We didn't have time to write them in.
Oh man!
Like I liked all the characters. I thought everyone was like well written and likable enough, which I know from watching this series is a big problem in a lot of Goosebumps books. But yeah, like I said, that point where the ending clearly wants to go in 2 different directions and sort of just zigzags in the middle instead of going either way just kind of ruined it for me.
That's fair. It felt like the Goosebumps where you pick your ending book, right?
A little bit, but you weren't given the
But
option
you weren't
to pick.
given either.
So it's like reading one of those just like cover to cover instead of following the actual numbers, and it's just like all over the
That would
place.
be amazing. I haven't considered reading it.
I did that with one of them. With Give Yourself Goosebumps. That's
Yeah.
what I did. Yeah.
That would be incredible. But yeah, it at least stuck to its guns at the end in the sense that, you know, Cody still had to give up his life.
Like again, that's something I did like about the ending was just like, well, you've made the bad choice.
Yeah.
I guess we're committed to it.
Yeah, it was like,
if
you
nothing
messed
else.
up.
Like Cody didn't get an out where
Nope.
Lilith was like, oh well, we'll talk to Satan and you don't have to die in a year.
There was just, nope, you got everyone back, you're the hero, die in a year.
Nice.
I thought it was cool. Cool ending at least.
Well, since I've got 2 whole restructured pitches for
Yeah, I wanna hear
how
these.
I would fix things. Well, first, is there anything you would suggest to fix things before I get into the meat of what I've got?
For me, I'm not a big fan of the Satan scene, but I don't know. It just is like always used, but...
Well, would you reuse Satan in a different way or just cut it all together? Because I kind of feel the same way in that I think introducing something as big as Satan raises the stakes for something that is fairly small way too much.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do instead. I'm no writer, that's for sure. But I don't know. For me, I thought that game of hide and seek would just be them discovering like how messed up hell was. But then they just found Satan and I'm like, okay. I mean, that's also an option, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have branched it somewhere different at that point. But once again, I got nothing.
Well, my first pitch is really just changing the back half. The first half is more or less the same as it is. So up until the point where Mr. Carmack goes missing and Mr. Romero replaces him and says, it's dinner time for you and your friends, Cody. So first thing there is they're not separated, they just have different surnames. So that's a thing.
That's,
so
they
that,
could've just done
so that Mr. Romero is also there at the dinner. And like, maybe Mr. Romero can be Satan, but it's like more of the like, the guy in a suit tempting you with, like the skeezy kind of Satan interpretation as opposed to like the giant monster. But like
Hudson Abbott.
Yeah, like you either Romero is like the more subdued, talky kind of Satan, or you just don't have Satan in the story.
But yeah, parents could definitely be together.
But yeah, so they're together. Then when they go to hell, have like a little moment of like, Kyle says something about X-Force and Cody's like, oh yeah, I love that one. And just like sort of like set in the thing of like, maybe this kid's not so bad. He's a little overbearing. He's kind of like on all the time. But like once you get used to him, once you get to know him, we have a lot in common. Maybe he's not so bad. But don't forget, they've kidnapped Mr. Carmack and he's somewhere in hell, so we need to save him. So they have you have the scene where they look at the map of in Dante's Inferno. Chelsea like leads Kyle off in one direction and Cody goes to find Mr. Carmack. And like finds him in hell prison or something. He's like, Mr. Carmack, I'm here to free you. And he's like, oh, thank God, Cody. you and me, we're gonna get these demons. And you're like, what? He's like, yeah, well, you, like I said, read Dante's Inferno. I check in on the demon guys, and you found the message I left in the book. In you, that's how you freed me. And like, now, I, Mr. Carmack, who is secretly a demon hunter, you and me, we're gonna go kill all those demons. And he's like, well, I don't know about killing them, but like, I guess they're demons, they're evil, they imprisoned you. Well, it makes sense.
I kind of like this.
So then they get back to Kyle, Lilith, and Romero's house. And when he comes in the door, he's like, oh, Kyle and Chelsea and my brother, they're all hanging out, looking at comics, and they're laughing and stuff. My parents and Miss Moon and Mr. Romero and Chelsea's dad, they're all like chatting around. They're like, I've misjudged these people. And then Carmack comes in, he's like, time to fucking kill some demons. You know, he's got his holy water, his cross, his like meat hook, double barrel shotgun and stuff.
He's ready.
You know what this is?
And then
this is Little Vampire.
If you say so.
Damn it! No one else has fucking seen it.
I know of it. It's the Stuart Little kid, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like the descendant of Van Helsing, and the Stuart Little kid's like friends with the whole family of vampires.
Yeah, but yeah, so like that's where you have your Cody is brave and stands up for someone moment.
Yeah.
He's like, no, Mr. Carmack, these are good people. They're a little weird, but like I'm not gonna let you kill them. And so they have a confrontation, like Cody's family and Chelsea's family and Carl's family, they all come out and we're like, however many people it is against one, get the fuck out of here, Carmack. So he runs off, tail between his legs, and then you just have like a nice moment of like, Cody's like, I overcame a prejudice today, and also I'm braver for it. And him, Chelsea, and Kyle, they're all friends, and then you just don't have Jackson in it at all.
Yeah, I was like, what about Jackson?
Fuck Jackson.
You didn't need to take a child away to put Kyle in. You could just have a new kid move to school. That happens all the time.
They do that in Yu-Gi-Oh too.
The last scene, Jackson comes back from like his vacation, and Cody's like, Kyle, I thought you got rid of Jackson. He's like, oh, I was just tricking you, man. Did you get the joke?
That's genius.
That was one of two directions, because I feel like in broad terms, the best way to fix the ending is to commit all one way or the other. Are the demons the bad guys, or are they actually good guys, and you have to realize it? They're the good guys ending. This is the bad guys restructure. So this one changes up a lot more. First off, they're not in middle school, they're in high school. They're all like 16, 17, age them up. Kyle is now Lucy, a new girl who's moved to town, and she wants to be Cody's boyfriend. She wants Cody to be her boyfriend. So the scene plays out with Chad bullying Cody, and then Lucy shows up. She's like, don't hurt my Cody Wody, he's my precious baby boy. And then she like makes the fountains explode, fries his brain and everything. And she's like, I love you, Cody. You're gonna be mine forever. I'm the princess of hell. My daddy is Satan, and you're gonna be my husband one day.
See, this makes more sense as to why Cody would be like weirded out by it.
Yeah.
Because like with the best friend thing, it was kind of like he likes all the things you like.
Yeah,
he's a little weird, but
that's why I had the read of like, does Cody just like not like autistic people?
Yeah, because I was like, this kid sounds like
obviously,
a perfect best friend.
it's not intentional. I hope.
Yeah.
But
however,
but yeah, because another thing I noticed in the book as it is that doesn't really go anywhere is that moment where Chelsea's like, oh, I kind of like this new assertive Cody, and if they're older, and if they're like they're going through puberty, they're in high school, and you have Lucy being like, I want to date Cody. You have Cody and Chelsea realize that like they kind of have a thing for each other as well. So instead of Mr. Carmack being kidnapped, Chelsea's the one who goes missing. Because Lucy's like, she's a competitor. She wants to date Cody.
Does
Cody's
that mean
mine.
the new Chelsea is Lucy's dad still.
Yeah, Mr. Romero shows up in a schoolgirl uniform being like, what are you talking about, Cody? I've been your best friend the whole time.
Checks out. I could see this.
But yeah, so when Chelsea goes missing, Cody goes to Mr. Carmack. He's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, don't you worry. I'm a secret demon hunter. And you and me, we're going to go to hell. We're going to rescue Chelsea. And we're going to make sure those demon fuckers never come back again.
Right.
And then I don't really have specifics for how they do that. But more or less, they go to hell. They save Chelsea. And then Lucy's like, no, I'm trapped in hell forever.
Oh, okay.
And unambiguously the villain of this
Still
story.
trapped in hell.
Yeah.
F.
I don't know. Maybe you can have some scene of like Mr. Carmack being like, I gotta stay in hell to make sure they never get out, Cody. You guys go on, go live your lives. I'm gonna be in hell and kill demons forever. And then he becomes Doom Guy. And it's secretly a prequel to Doom the whole time.
I was gonna say, he sounds like he would be like a really nerdy librarian, but then when he gets into hell and has to like survive and kill the demons, he just become like ripped as fuck.
Yeah, it's Carmack and Romero fighting for all eternity in hell.
That would be pretty gangster.
And those are my two pitches for alternate versions of this story.
Well, if the second one commits to Chelsea being played by Lucy's dad, I approve of the second one.
But yeah, overall, like I said, there's definitely problems that I think mostly stem from the handing off between each chapter, which results in like I'm surprised the storyline was as cohesive as it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Especially
that,
like the earlier ones. Yeah, more so.
But for it to like have really worked for me, it needed to be more cohesive. And the other problem is that I feel like it's trying too hard at sometimes to emulate the feeling of a Goosebumps book, as opposed to just telling a good story. Because it's like the thing of like, if you try and make something intentionally bad, it's very, very hard to actually pull that off in a way that works. And most of the time, you just make something bad.
I thought it was very Goosebumpsy the whole way through. I don't know if it overused that, but I wasn't really looking for it.
Well, I think the other problem is that I have really no nostalgia for Goosebumps whatsoever. I never read any of the books. The extent of it was just like in the school library, I'd look at the cover art and read the little taglines and be like, that'll do me. I'll just put it back on the shelf.
They definitely made me do that too. But then I did start reading.
But yeah, so I don't have as much of an attachment to the style of Goosebumps. So I probably had less patience for it.
It's probably best described as cringe storytelling. Like, I reread them when I was, like, starting high school. I don't know why. I just had a bunch of them. And I was like, cool. And I reread them and I was like, these kind of suck.
But now let's talk about the TV adaptation of this story.
Yay!
Who wants to start?
So first of all...
Defend yourself.
So first of all, I was very frustrated when Hadley introduced Satan. It was my turn to write, and I was like, we've got to talk about Satan!
Jared!
Well, that's a question I want to ask. Because you did a lot of the patented R.L. Stine cliffhanger endings to a chapter that get resolved in 2 sentences as soon as the... How many of those, like, actively pissed you off?
I don't think it even pissed me off, because I'd be like, yeah, shitty cliffhanger.
That would be fun, actually, going from writer to writer with the cliffhanger.
As we were getting to the ending, I think it was when we got on the bus to the dinner, Jared was panicking. He did not know where the story was going to go. I told Jared, hey Jared, I've got an idea. This is what we're going to work with, because this is all I can think of. I just need you to get us to the house. Can you do that for me? And then I brought in Satan.
There were a couple times, I remember meeting up with you in town once.
Yeah.
And you were just like, Jared, I've got to tell you, I've got no idea what to write for my next chapter.
It's when you wrote Carl's mum to be Lilith, where I was like, fuck.
And that seems like such an obvious thing to do.
That's something I really liked.
In hindsight, it makes perfect sense. But when we got, because what I expected was, I wrote the cliffhanger where the principal confronted the kids after the fountain exploded. I was like, okay, Jared's going to write the parent-teacher interview, and then I'll worry about whatever happens after that. No, he wrote them getting to the interview. Lilith walks in, and then it's like, okay, it's your turn, Hadley, again. I'm like, son of a bitch!
I did that a lot where I was like, okay, now I'll handle this massive chunk of story, but then I'd find like the perfect cliffhanger, and I'm just like, I've got to do it to it. just gave me the cliffhanger. I think I introduced Kyle, but you named him because he didn't get a name for like 2 or 3 chapters after he first appeared.
He got a name in your chapter, but you asked me what to name him.
Right.
And I was like, Kyle's a douchey name. Yeah. That's why I went with Kyle.
Yeah. I'm not saying you should have named him like Damien.
That's
exactly too on the nose,
but
like Lilith I thought worked really well.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Because that's like Bride of Satan, a lot of mythology, first demon, all that kind of thing. You couldn't have thought of something just a tad more.
I was like, if I don't name this kid Damien, I don't know what I will, and I don't want to name this kid Damien. So I was like, Hadley, it's your job, and if it's bad, it's not my fault.
Okay.
Like the only other thing I could, because when I said the other kid, Lucy, as in like Lucifer.
Oh yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does just work better, doesn't it? Just have it as a girl.
Yeah.
Checks out.
We can't have it in high school though, just like on principle.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But you can't just call like Kyle Dante. What's a shorter version of Dante?
Hey, read Dante's Inferno. Funny that I just met a kid and his name is Dante.
Exactly. That's why I'm like,
I was best friends with a guy named Dante in high school.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take the blame.
Nose.
I'll take the blame for Dante's Inferno.
Yes.
I introduced Mr. Carmack.
We were reading Golo Cry Monster at the time.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And I was a bit like, I wanted to have like a good relationship with one of the teachers, the librarian, books. Yeah, what is like a good book that I've read so I can actually say something about it? And I was like, Treasure Island. I'll just say Treasure Island. And then I was like, Dante's Inferno would be kind of funny though. Me, with zero knowledge of Dante's Inferno. And I was like, it'd be a pretty funny cliffhanger, and I put it in. And then I was like, shit, it's actually going to be really important for the story, isn't it?
Well, it needs to be.
It needs to be at that point.
Yeah.
So I have now purchased a copy of The Divine Comedy. Yeah. I'll read it in 15 years, but I haven't.
It was interesting you bring up. I feel like we
play Devil May Cry.
We need to address the fact Kyle as neurodivergent. That's kind of interesting. What I was pitching it as, we got really into Chucky, and that relationship of like a kid and someone that's not really human but also kind of is, that's like getting really obsessed with a kid.
I never once drew a line between the two, but I'll allow it.
I kind of did. No, I did not intend to make him neurodivergent. I kind of shat myself when I read that Jared gave him psychic powers. I was like, fuck, I gotta make this a thing too now.
He's a hell kid, of course he has to go.
I kind of just wanted him to be a kid, honestly.
He has to be weird. Because
you can't just say he's Damien, but he's Damien.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's just Damien. I introduced Kyle because I felt like there needed to be another threat. I didn't think just a bus driver would be enough. So it was good like, what about having like a demon kid? And like that's the reason why we have the bus going to hell. It's to pick up this new hell kid.
It was good having the two and then they linked up.
That made a lot of sense. I enjoyed that. As like a step from one to the other.
And then my big thing that I tried to do in that dinner scene, because the book is called My Bus Driver is a Demon, I wanted to bring around and make sure that Lilith, in the end, was the most important of the two. Because we spent a whole middle chunk of the book going on about Kyle. So in the end, I wanted to bring it back to Lilith, and that's what that dinner scene was kind of about.
Right.
That dinner scene was like the one thing that I wanted. I was like, all right, Satan, as long as I get my fucking dinner scene.
I have it set up where, okay, Cody, you get a year, but you have to have dinner with this family, okay? And that was my gift to Jared for introducing Satan. One of my big things with getting this ending was I just had a mental checklist of everything we needed to pay off. Dante's Inferno was the obvious one. I also needed to pay off. Earlier in the book, you wrote Chelsea was writing a list of things that Chad had done to Cody. Yeah. It's like, okay, I have to pay that off.
That was just meant to be a funny thing about Chelsea.
Yeah. I just felt like paying it off.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about the payoff.
The dinner felt so awkward and it was just a book, and I'm like, how does this feel so awkward?
I really struggled writing that scene for a while, and then one day I just went.
I really like the dinner scene.
I told Jared after reading it, that's the best writing I've seen out of him. That was a fantastic chapter.
And then I immediately downplayed it with a shitty joke.
Yes. I had fun. I told Jared from the get-go, because the first cliffhanger ending you did was he gets yogurt on his comic, he's like, no! And I said, Jared, we're writing fan fiction, not parody. We can't have this be actual cliffhangers. We need to write it like a Goosebumps book. And you're right, sweetie, that does make the book worse. But that also, the point of this wasn't to make a good book. I think that needs to be said.
End of the day, that is the point, was to do Goosebumps. That's why we have shitty cliffhangers.
That's why the ending sucks.
That's why the ending sucks. That's why I brought up halogen lights at one point.
Yes.
You two didn't pick up on that. I'm very mad. That was something that happened a lot.
I picked up on the excessive X-Men references.
Because I was like, Steiner, he mentioned X-Force so much that I was like, I just want to make X-Force important. It just happened.
It was also funny, we started writing the book and then we got to month 4 and we read Night of the Living Dummy. That had a kid named Cody in it. I was like, oh fuck.
Wasn't there a time that I wrote a chapter and I completely used the protagonist's name from whatever Goosebumps book we had just read instead of Cody?
No, I remember, it was funny, you said at the end where they go off different paths, it felt like 2 different books. In the original scene Jared wrote with Satan, he wrote Chelsea into the scene. It's like, no Jared, she's not here.
She went the other way.
Completely forgot about it. I was so fucking laser focused on Satan.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to write Satan and I was like, fuck, I need to find some way to write it. I tried to make his dialogue interesting. Yeah. I put a JoJo in there. I put a JoJo in there for myself, to keep myself happy at the end.
We should mention it's the, you're approaching me.
Yeah. It felt like an important moment.
No, it wasn't, because it was also then come as close as you like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wait, there was that bit.
If it was just one of them, I could have been like, don't like this, but I'm not going to obsess over it.
That was
both of them, so fuck you.
It was. I did forget he did the second one.
That was another thing where I was like, okay, Jared, you get the Saint scene, you get to pay off the story. Oh, you ended with him punching Satan. I have to finish the story. Fuck.
It's the Soul Eater ending.
Once again, I found a cliffhanger and I took it.
Yeah.
And then Cody punches Satan in the jaw. But you still picked up what I kind of intended for it to happen. Satan just kind of amused.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, oh, this kid thinks he can fucking punch me in the... Alright, kid, what the fuck do you want, man? Jeez. Like, alright, damn. There's no way in hell I'm never looking at that book again. I fucking hated writing it.
I get it.
It's convinced me that I'm never going to write a novel. It's never happening.
Yeah. By the way, guys, whoever's watching this that isn't us, I will be linking the book in a Google Drive link in the description if you really want to read it out of morbid curiosity.
If you want to fucking punish yourself.
I liked it. I think Sweeting said it best, that these were interesting characters with interesting dynamics, and that's what kept us hooked. By the end, I said, I was just really into these characters. I didn't finish it because I wanted to have a project for this video. I finished it because these characters needed a story to be finished.
Yeah, they were all pretty fun.
Yeah.
I could definitely see us taking these characters and reusing them in something at some point, give them like an actual half-decent book to be part of.
Because this is the 7th video out of 31.
Yeah.
We can't... There's got to be something else we're doing at some point if we give enough of a shit.
Well, because one of the questions I wanted to ask was, reflecting on it, do you think that the passing off was to the detriment more than anything else?
Yes, but I don't know what else we would have done.
Well, my follow-up question was, if you ever do this again, would you just write 2 books separately?
Yes.
And then get us to say which is better?
I actually was thinking that when we finished it. It was like, what if we wrote 2 books? That would take more time.
Because then no matter what, they would end up being more cohesive.
Yeah.
It'd either be we write our books separately, or we just have like a structure at the start that we follow. Because I think we jumped into this with no plans.
No.
And then we only really started planning out scenes. I know, big surprise.
Yeah, what?
We really started planning out scenes right towards the end. I think the last 5 scenes we roughly had sorted with each other.
When I felt like the plot started for me was at the interview where I dropped in that Mr. Carmack had been kidnapped. I decided, let's make the story about, we need a reason for Cody to want to go to hell. Here's the reason. Here's the rest of the book.
Someone's getting murdered in the next room.
Yeah, goddamn.
American Psycho's happening over there.
Or just dance rehearsal, one of the two.
Yeah, no. So I find it's definitely a problem. 100% it's a problem. Wouldn't have done it any other way. I think us not knowing what to do, trying to find a way, and even just like the pressure of getting it written. That's what Stein does.
Yeah.
That's what Goosebumps are. How long did it take us to write it?
3 months, maybe.
Motherfucker does these in 1.
And this was
just
shorter.
one of them. And this is shorter than most of his books. So it's given me a little bit extra respect for the work that he does.
Yeah.
Maybe Goosebumps
And he has to come up with a new idea every month. This was just one idea.
Yeah.
He's still claiming it's all him as well.
What about has to come up with one idea in a month and then send it to the writing factory?
Yeah. No, he's the monkey in the machine, and he's got a team of writers that just hand him synopsis and like everything, and like plans for the stories, and he just drinks his coffee and he types, and then the Scholastic check comes in. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It was the best of bumps. It was the blust of blumps. You stupid stud.
Any questions, Lawrence?
No. More Lilith.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here's a question for you. What would you do if there was a TV adaptation being made of this one?
It's definitely
and you were given like
we could do
directorial control.
What would I change? Satan's gone. we don't need any of that.
Well, what is your ending now? How do you resolve the story?
I just focus it much more on having that conflict between Kyle and Lilith and the families.
Do you just take my first pitch?
I probably wouldn't do the Demon Hunter stuff, but I definitely would make it more about just focus more on that stuff that I was touching on in that dinner scene. Well, that's definitely where the inspiration for that pitch came from, and the Carmack stuff was more just to like have a better payoff for one, him being in hell, and two, him being like, you should read Dante's Inferno, definitely for no reason in particular. I wonder if I'd cut Dante's Inferno out.
I mean, it's a pretty good reference to what's
It is. I kind of put it in there initially just because I thought like it was too good not to. Even with no knowledge of Dante's Inferno, I was like, it's too good of an op to pass out, like to pass up on.
No, you already know.
Yeah.
When it comes to like TV adaptations, I kind of care less about the story and more about the production. So what's in my head is how do we film hell? My idea, bus scenes, shitty green screen.
Yeah.
When you're in hell, I'm picturing they go to like a cabin and they get all this red lighting and it's just oversaturated.
You know, like Mexico lighting where everything is just yellow tinted.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's just red.
Yes, that's what I picture. I guess let's pretend in a hypothetical scenario there is Satan. I would maybe animate him.
Like
that would be just get the smiling friend Satan.
Like a CG model.
Stop
motion.
Like a stop motion.
I'd get Jared to play them.
Like I was thinking like almost that animated Lord of the Rings where it's like all rotoscoped.
Oh yeah. The Ralph Bakshi one.
Yeah.
What about casting?
I have a question. When are we making
it? Which child actors are you picking to play Cody, Kyle, Chelsea, and the gang?
Make it at the high school one does make it easy.
It's Kyle.
Cody.
What?
You mean Finn Wolfhard is Cody?
No, I said he's Kyle. Shut up.
Okay.
Were you casting Finn Wolfhard from like 10 years ago or Finn Wolfhard now?
No, and we'll just like DH him with that Netflix.
They DH'd him for in chapter 2.
Yeah, they did.
That's why he's wearing those thick glasses for most of his scenes, to hide his face.
Oh my god.
Fuck. I don't. The problem is I don't watch any teen dramas anymore because I have taste. So I don't know any teen actors.
Well, okay. What about the adults? Who's
let's just use
who's
adults.
Lilith? Who's Mr. Romero and Mr. Carmack?
Okay.
Rebel Wilson is Lilith.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
I just used the cat CGI for it. I feel like I want to cast Mr. Carmack. I would like. Get Robbie Coltrane. Make him just Hagrid.
What have I told you?
That's gonna be a big, it's gonna be a big boy.
Yeah. You know they like CGI'd the height for Hagrid. He's not actually that tall in real life.
What?
Yeah.
I've been lied to.
Yeah.
Is he that fat?
I don't know. I'd probably just.
So if one of them checks
What the fuck? Lucifer's actor.
Oh, Tom Ellis.
Tom
Sure,
he's Mr.
Yeah.
Romero. Sure.
Okay, cool. It's like don't get
That's the kind of vibe I pictured for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, if Satan has to be in that, just make it just Mr. Romero.
Yeah.
That's what I was almost picturing,
That would
and then like we made Satan a librarian, and that felt dirty to me. If that makes any sense. I feel like Satan's too busy to be a librarian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's not being a librarian. He's being a dad.
He's being a dad.
I like him as the dad.
Yeah.
Checks.
I guess this is over now.
Yeah.
Yeah. 30 more years, Morty.
Yeah. Happy 30th anniversary, Mr. Stein. Hopefully your anniversary book was better than ours.
I don't think it can.
He wrote another slappy book for the anniversary.
Wait, actually?
Because of course he fucking did. Yeah. It's
got
the
competition.
second time that Slappy has been the protagonist of a book. That's what he wrote.
Only the second.
Yeah.
Slappy's Nightmares. That was that the
That
other
was the
one?
other one.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That would have been interesting.
He's
Maybe we'll
not.
get to that. Maybe.
Oh, because he's in Light of the Living Dummies, but
So he's like in them and everything, but this is like he's the point of view
He's the
character for
point
the
of view
entire
character.
book. It's a story like about stuff happening
Well, that's
to Slappy.
creepy. Right.
I think
It's like the difference between Child's Play when Chucky's the antagonist and when he's the central focus.
that's it. It's like Child's Play versus Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Bride of Chucky. We're gonna do a video on Child's Play at some point or what?
What do we do?
Nothing.
I feel like we're setting a
Slappy
dangerous
versus
precedent.
Chucky. Death battle.
Epic rap battle.
Chucky would win like hands fucking down.
CP.
What if Slappy had prep time?
Does he have to prep? What if Chucky gets prep time? There's just like a million Chucky dolls walking up and Slappy's like, oh jeez, I'm fucked, guys, fuck.
There's one for you. Can Chucky beat a fully kitted out Kevin McAllister?
Home Alone game.
You'd always find a way to come
No,
back.
no, he can't even beat one fucked up Andy Barkley.
Exactly.
He can't even beat one kid on his own. He can't beat Kevin.
Oh.
No way.
Jared had the Donald Trump line from Home Alone.
Yeah, it was in the. Yeah, that's
I
one
can't
line.
remember where.
That's one line that I always slip into things. It's one of my.
It's a weird niche.
It is.
Kinda
It's
into that.
down the hole to the left.
Yes.
That's the one. It was
Because I can put that in anywhere. You won't even know it's a reference unless you're looking
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
I hate that, but I also am like, mad respect.
Yeah. That's a fun one.
Yeah. We're gonna go back to talk about the other books,
Oh,
don't
yeah,
we?
we've got to rank them now.
Yeah. Alright.
This one's going at the bottom of the ranking. Good news.
Too much.
I put it pretty high.
I haven't read the other one, so I can't comment.
Trust
On
me,
a
this
ranking,
is the best Goosebumps book
on
you've
a-
ever read.
On a ranking of ones that Sleeman and Hadley wrote, it's both the best and the worst.
I'll take
Facts.
it. I'll fucking take
And
it.
until such a time as you write more, then we'll figure
It's
out what
S tier and F tier.
Don't put that in the universe. I don't want to do this
You
again.
said yourself, you're going to be doing this for like, what, 20 more
30
episodes?
years.
We've got 2 more years of this for this
Yeah.
original series alone.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the other series yet.
Yeah,
Let's not put the cart
That
before
is
the
not
horse.
including Series 2000, Most Wanted,
Horrorland.
Slappy World Horrorland.
You think you're never going to write another one in that time? Fuck off.
There's gonna be something.
That doesn't even include the MISC books that we discovered the other
Oh,
night.
the fucking...
Oh,
so
the
many.
Choose Your Adventure ones.
Here's your prompt for next time. This time it has to be a sequel to an existing one.
Monster Blood 5.
Yeah, why do they keep making them?
They stopped. There's like 1 or 2 these days.
Nah, I'm fucking going Monster Blood 5. It's too many of them.
It's so epic, it skipped over the other one.
I'm taking Golden Cry Monster 2.
Ooh, what about Chicken 2?
We'll get to it.
What if we do Chicken
Hear
versus
me out.
Duck Duck?
Hear me out. If the Haunted Mask was so good, where's Haunted Mask 2?
I'm picturing Duck Duck and the tagline's just a goose.
That's the
What would the tagline be for this one? Because there's always 2. There's the one on the back and then there's the one on the front.
There's 2? Holy crap.
Um,
That's too much thinking.
This is your stop.
the wheels on the bus go.
That would be one of them, definitely.
Yeah, I like it.
I feel like they're on the highway to hell.
Yes!
That'd be another one.
Oh,
Yes!
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Classic.
That's perfect. Done.
Classic.
Yeah, that's the back, front.
Yeah.
Done. What's the cover looking like?
Your mum.
I think we just have like... I'm picturing if you've ever seen the cover for Creature Teacher.
No.
It's one of the 2000s books where it's like a monster teacher, but it's like super close up. I want to do that, but with a bus driver sitting on a bus, basically.
See, I just kind of, like it wouldn't be representative of what's actually in the book, because so few of them are. But I'm just imagining like Ghost Rider, but driving a bus.
I'm imagining the bus getting some like mad air off the ground, and you can see like kids like on the side of like the window screaming, and you see little being like,
it's a magic school bus.
She's got like, she's got like toot at the bus, and there's smoke coming out the top for some fucking reason.
Good check out.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want that, we can discuss prices later.
Oh jeez, look at the top end. Okay.
Welcome back to your regularly scheduled program.
Regularly scheduled.
There's a lot of words in regularly.
One of them.
There's 3 actually.
Okay. Werewolf of Peepoo Swamp.
It's going above Welcome to Camp Nightmare.
That is all we have to say about it.
Yeah, really. I think Curse of the Mummy's Tomb has a slightly more interesting setting, and there's like a constant threat throughout it, so I guess it's going above Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
Yeah, that's exactly where it belongs.
Yeah, alright, let's move these down. Okay. No, you gotta put it here.
No, that's exactly where it's going.
No, because we gotta make room.
That's right. No, you're right.
Yeah. Alright. Fuck. Is it better than Say Cheese and Die?
I don't even think it's better than Be Careful What You Wish For.
Really?
Fly away, bird.
Yeah. This really was a rough month, wasn't it?
I think it goes right below Be Careful What You Wish For.
Alright. No, you're right. Again, there was a constant threat throughout, so... That's the thing. We forgot to put a plot into both of our books this month. We're running out of boardroom, Jared.
That's alright. We only have to count one more from now on.
Yeah.
We'll have I actually do have an idea. So,
You do? You tell me.
Yeah, so that's okay. You'll see what we do next month, because we'll have exactly one to go with that.
Yes. Okay, so it's been a while since we've had a recap. I feel like 14's a good place to start. So, Welcome to Camp Nightmare was boring, bad ending, nothing happened, characters, there were too many, there was like 10 of them, no personalities whatsoever.
I don't want to fucking talk about it. Fever Swamp we spoke about. Curse of the Mummy. Man, at least there were mummies at the end, and there was like a vaguely scary guy throughout all of it, and Egypt was a cool setting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Piano,
Yeah,
murder.
murder. Careful what you wish for, fly away bird.
Good ending.
Yeah.
Weird. The rest of it was like so quality different. Fascinating.
So, yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Say cheese and die, just stop taking photos. Just stop taking photos, you idiots.
Just put the camera down.
Dude!
Just leave it alone.
Welcome to Dead House. We forgot to have something happen until halfway in.
It still has a special place in my heart.
This to me is like the perfect middle point for the series. If you're below Welcome to Dead House, you've done something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Girl Who Cried Monster. What a story. What a story.
Masterpiece. What can I say?
Let's get invisible. Let's move on. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Ghost Next Door. Great twist. It's just doesn't quite come together.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Monster Blood, 90% of the book, top tier.
Witch Cat. Fiery redhead witch cat.
Witch Cat. And then the top three are just like,
Night of Living Dummy. Solid. Fucking stay out of the basement. We make fun of it a lot because, like, when you're in the top spot, everyone wants to bring you down.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Now
There's a reason why
now that it's not number one, I'm okay with it.
And Haunted Mask, bless.
Golden Child.
We don't deserve Haunted Mask.
It's true.
Jared, do you remember what books we have to read next month?
You Can't Scare Me.
Yep.
And One Day at Ireland.
That might be the first time you remember both
We
books
were
next
speaking
month.
about it just before we started filming.
You Can't Scare Me is very vague.
Show the cover right now.
Mudge People. We'll see.
I'll read that shit.
Yeah.
And then Horrorland is like classic.
That is well, it got its own series, so there's clearly a market for it. But like, really hard to make a theme park boring. I'm a little apprehensive because this book, and this book have all been very setting heavy, and they're the bottom three.
Yeah.
So I really hope we do something a little different.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
There are video games set around Horrorland. So clearly, for not just Stein, but for like third party people to come into this franchise and be like, yeah, we'll set something at Horrorland. Surely. I'll cry if it doesn't.
I really need a good month, guys. This was rough.